Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4. The new order as the Iberian Union. Let's continue on for last off. So we're in the middle of the Malta conference. It's getting a little bit tense because we want some access to the Suez Canal. Siano refuses. Siano fires back. Ridiculous. We trusted you for 20 years and this is how you repay us. Offering a paltry sum for something we fought and bled for? Of course not. These negotiations are over. The Iberian delegate shocked replied, "This is outrageous. We expect to be treated as equals, not children." They continued by claiming that they would not participate on later discussions over territorial disputes, and concluded with a scathing attack on Siano. "We joined you decades ago because you promised equality and freedom from tyranny, but now you know better than the Germans, lording over us like some petty Reich commissars. We're done with this conference." Expected. We'll kind of see what happens here. Because you've actually already done like all your events. Probably most of these were done already, because I think that was the thing that happened when we were playing as United States. If you remember, that we had some like a bunch of events that are already done. Iberia won't attend the border conference. True to their word, the Iberian delegates were nowhere to be seen this morning as the very dignitaries took their seats for the border conference. Turkish diplomats looked relieved, while Italian delegates shared worrying glances. Siano feared the conference would collapse around him. And it looks like Tito has taken over Yugoslavia. Will that last? No. I'm gonna put a big no on that one. I don't see that lasting for too long. And the Civil Rights Act of 1962 has passed. But what else can you do? Because I think these are like new symbols. These definitely, I don't think these were here before. The start of the border conference. I mean, we're not there, so by and far the large. I mean, I want to say these are the same events that every single triumvirate member gets. By and far the largest conflict present in the triumvirate was the many border disputes that are sparked up in the triumvirate between all three members. For this problem to be resolved, there will be a 2 full days dedicated to negotiations over the nature of these disputed territories. The event started with the noticeable lack of Iberian diplomats, as they informed their hosts that they had refused to attend it beforehand, as if they're holier than us all. The Habsburg, Austrian Turks took to the podium with their oversized charts of Eastern Mediterranean following behind him, among the rest of the entourage. He began to explain the convoluted ancient importance of Cyprus and roads to Turkey and the demographics of the islands, particularly what Turks describes as the overwhelming majority of ethnic pure Turks. The Italian-controlled islands of Rhodes and Cyprus have long been a thorn in Turkey's side, due in part to the large minority of Turks, but also more importantly because of their vital strategic importance, so they're the inlets to the Aegean and to the Eastern Mediterranean. Furthermore, since the completion of Atlantis Europa, several of these Italian islands have gained prominent land borders with the Turkish mainland, and the triumvirate deteriorates with the Italian. Actually, I guess did they take over land, or is this just the island grew? I guess it might just be the island grew. Turkey had become much more vocal regarding the issues of these rightful Turkish lands being denied union with the Turkish state. Our demands are clear. We only ask what has been ours for millennia. These were the Turks had on the pros' concessions. We will not back down. We will not fold. We will not stop until we have it. A reminder of what action Turkey will surely take should their demands be refused. I mean, technically, I guess you're a kind of like a puppet of Italy, so I guess you're somewhat in charge of Cyprus, even though it actually is Greek territory, at least de jure. Okay, let's get some more building slots. That seems nice. Most people don't have a preference right now for who's in charge. Throw more money at the project, $16 million. So let's see, 194 minus 16. That's actually just round up to 195. So that is 179-ish. Like, do you say 179? So 188. This might change though, I'm not too sure. Siano negotiates. Siano pauses. Well, I think we can make a deal here. Those islands were originally naval bases. They aren't terribly useful as parts of the mainland, so I think we come to some sort of agreement. Turk nods. Well, excellent. Let's meet and discuss this. I feel like these are mostly like Italian decisions because we're not there at all. But that's okay. Also, what do we want to research? We got one level of I mean, we can still keep going down, right? Yeah, let's go for the 1960 research speed upgrade. Like, why would you not want that? And you're all, yeah, you're all part of, I guess they changed the name of this faction. But negotiations have immediately broke down. Negotiations have been going well, with the status of some of the islands decided, at least until Turks Snap. Why do you insist on treating us as inferiors? He yelled at Ciano. Why are you acting like some benevolent god restoring these islands to us? You should be apologizing and paying reparations for your illegal colonial occupation. These islands aren't yours to give away. They are Turkish by blood. I mean, if you just didn't snap, we'd be in a better position. I'm actually almost on this focus tree as well. That a medieval fortress of Yankyar. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. I might be completely wrong. The weather in Morocco could surprisingly be quite pleasant. Alfonso had gotten used to the temperate mornings on his commute to the office. How glad he was to enumerate the senses at this time of the year, rather than under the oppressive heat of the African summer sun. For 4 hours, he drove his van southwards into the heart of the Sahara. There were no roads here, only miles of indistinguishable dunes. Dunes could blur together. It was very easy to lose your bearings here. That was when Zan was there for. He had grown up in this desert, and even more importantly, he was a native Tamziat. These were truly remote lands, nearly untouched since ancient times. Few spoke any other language, not even Arabic. Over there, Zian yelled, spotting through binoculars a stone tower peeking over the dunes. Pulling closer, they found an old walled village, Siankiar. Its sandstone buildings seeming more like something out of medieval times than today. As the Iberians approached, a small band of pastoralists prepared to depart their city, their eyes widen at the sign of the mysterious machine now before them, the rhythm of his engine coming to a halt as Alfonso and Zenan stepped out. Strucks were unheard of out here, and most knowledge of Europe came by the tales of traders. An elderly man approached the vehicle, turning to Alfonso and asking, "Vous français?" Jeez, it was really have been that long since any Europeans were out here. Zan chuckled and said something to the man in Tamzite. The man looked confused and responded in Arabic. Zan asked questions and relayed them to Alfonso. The band was a tribe of 46 men, women, and children. Most only spoke tablet, a language that neither Alfonso or Zidane had ever heard of. A few of the men spoke Arabic or Tamzat to trade on the oases. It had been many years since any of them had met a European in person. They had not even heard that the French had left Morocco. Alfonso tallied every man, woman, and child in the band that day. No matter how far away from the roads, no matter the climate, no matter the language, all would be counted in the 1962 colonial census. I mean, I guess that's dedication, I guess. I mean, I guess at this point, it would have been like 40, not 40, probably about 40 years since the French left. The Malta conference had been bombed. The first reports that reached Rome were sporadic and disjointed. A fire had broken out in the city of Burgo. The Turks had prepared a trap and invaded Malta. The Kriegsmarine were shelling the Fort St. Angelo. Someone had tried to shoot Il Duce. Attempts to verify anything were unsuccessful, as the phone lines to the conference site were all down, some trying to formulate all this into a single narrative, but it was so self-contradictory that it was fruitless. All anyone could do was wait and pray for good news. Thankfully, it was a wait of only several minutes until it was confirmed that the Duce was alive and returning to Rome post-haste. The clear details had begun to trickle in. A bomb went off in Fort St. Angelo, obliterating the conference room, and both Bragsworth and Cadito survived unscathed due to good timing. The identity of the bomber is unknown, and if it was done by any of the tribe and other member states, it is unlikely they will take responsibility. So Rome, however, began pointing fingers at Iberian Turkey, and there were undoubtedly those who will accuse us. While tensions were high going into the meeting, they're now absolutely astronomical. The bomber's goal was to sow chaos in the Mediterranean, yet succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. 15% stability loss, really. Like, I understand. I mean, I guess the entire alliance that we've kind of built up has kind of, like, been destroyed, so understandable. Who has best attack stats? You do. Throw you into the front. Delete your line. Just kind of, like, stay here for now. And is there straight here? No, you're just gonna go over the ocean. That's fine. Iberian Turkey blame Italy, withdraw delegates. Unsurprisingly, out of all the members of Triumvirate, nobody is willing to take responsibility for the bombing. Though Italy claims they had nothing to do with the bombing, as they had zero incentive to do so, this is not stop Iberian Turkey blaming the Italians for the whole fiasco. Both Iberia and Turkey had withdrawn their delegates for the conference, saying it's clear that they are not safe for them to be there. It's time for us to end this charade. And congratulations, Brazil, for winning the World Cup. You know, definitely the most important news that's definitely happening right now. At least for us. The collapse of the Triumvirate. So we got Bosnia now exist. From Yugoslavia. Which probably means that Italy's going to invade them very soon. Leaving a Triumvirate. With the catastrophic breakdown and dissolution of the Triumvirate, Iberia now finds itself alone and adrift. The different reforms may come into play as the cathedrals determine which course of action is necessary. Is Franco now in charge again? No, he's not. So after Triumvirate, let's go for you. Apparently it's bypassed. Fantastic. So we didn't actually get to finish our last tree. We got pretty close, though. So do we want to make allies, or do we want to... I mean, do we want allies, or do we want to stand alone? I feel like standing alone is just bad. Franco National do holiday. No, like you... We need allies. We need trade partners. Because otherwise Germany will just dominate us, I feel like, at some point. Also, we have way more decisions here. Iberia as a triumvirate. Despite being sorely needed, making these decisions will doubtlessly make Franco new enemies across the Iberian society. The solution of triumvirate has been a wake-up call for Iberia, with the government scrambling to keep the Union afloat. In the wake of the collapse, Calito Franco has taken upon himself to lead the effort in making long overdue changes to improve Iberia's internal stability. And you're still about to dam. That's fine. Don't worry about that. We lose stability. We get a little bit more political power. Well, let's uphold the status of the Spanish and the Portuguese. That seems like a decent way to start. To worsen the opinion of silent majority. Trade debate. Triumvirate tariffs. With the collapse of Triumvirate, many of Iberia's former trade partners had suddenly declared themselves hostile to the nation. Today, in a meeting with Galicia, the two Calitos discussed the possibility of levying tariffs on Italy and Turkey. While they generally agreed that tariffs were a decent idea, discussions were quickly bogged down by furious agreement over exactly what products had the highest priority to levy tariffs on. Spanish and Portuguese institutions had both provided conflicting data, much of which was severely out of date. Once that settled, no comprehensive agreement had been reached. Excellent. Any recent info here? Yeah, there's actually a lot. Oh, but it's just about Europe, which is kind of... It's not that important. I thought it was just mostly going to be about Iberia, but... I guess Iberian information came from... our opening little dialogue. Also, what we should do... with trade... is we should probably just, like, import a little bit of oil from, let's say, the United States. 2 factories worth seems okay. As long as we're not... I think we don't need 2. Maybe just 1. As long as we're earning oil and not losing it, that's fine. Also, we only have 2 factories. 30% utilization. Yeah, no, apparently a lot of our factories have just kind of gone away. Fantastic. Decisions available. Look at power, worsen a native opinion, speak out against Algerian separatists. More conservative. Market liberalism improves. Worsen opinion of the intellectuals. I feel like worsening opinion of like the military probably is going to go bad. Let's decry Italian approachment. That seems like a decent way to start off. Because Italy, they suck. We don't like them. With the utter indecision on the previous debate, the Calitos have moved onto a new topic. Namely, precisely where the money from potential tariffs would go. Again, the consensus was not reached, with precise ratios not being worked out. The issue of the Union government not receiving any sort of reasonable amount of funding appears to be likely to persist indefinitely. The Calitos clash over what factors shall determine which administration will collect and distribute tariff money. So apparently everything in our country is just going bad. But I guess that's not a major surprise. Wonderful will end up just doing all these eventually. A new case. Small pebbles were thrown up as a police car rushed along the winding cobbled road which separated the outskirts of Valladolid from their destination. Observing the dancing shadows of the trees created by the headlights, the inspector scoffed, separating the estate from the edge of civilization, more like. While he laughing at his own joke, he noticed that the driver was looking at him through the car mirror. Is everything okay, sir? Surprised at the genuine sound of concern laced in the question, the inspector turned to face his colleague. I'm just thinking what a pathetic case this likely will be. The inspector could see both disgust and surprise in the sergeant's eyes. How so? A young girl from a noble family been reporting missing. Social status of the family does not exceed the class of provincial nobility. Following his reply, the sergeant raised his eyebrow questioningly, while the inspector continued unabashed. She's likely run away. Responsibility associated with being the eldest daughter, maintaining social etiquette, having no real free choice. You could see the sergeant briefly nod, but the rest of the journey was dominated by a leering silence. The car was greeted formally as if the policemen were distinguished guests. Following a brief and fruitless discussion with the attending family members, the inspector went to search the house, noticing no signs of forced entry or other indications of violent crime. No indication of violent crime. He tasked the sergeant with questioning the servants. After only 2 interviews, the sergeant rushed back to the inspector. Maybe you were right. It seemed the daughter was close to one particular servant, who would not return to work in a few days. The inspector smiled weakly. We have sided with his ego, but the girl was still missing. An opportunity to make a name for himself. So we got a little bit of intrigue here. Italy's declared war on Yugoslavia. That is not at all surprising. Italy's declared war on the Levant. Can Italy actually intervene here? I mean, I guess not. They're not only a puppet anymore. It's a little bit strange how this kind of works. After this, we can cut ties with all of our old allies. Apparently Yugoslavia is one of them, but even though I don't think that's necessarily true. We probably want to help Turkey more than we want to help Italy, seeing as we actually have like a direct border dispute with the Italians. I don't think we have one with Turkey. Okay, let's go across the pond and visit America. I'm guessing you want us to throw more money. Actually, no. We don't have political power to actually do something here. Frank goes to Morocco. Salazar talks to the bishops. Salazar releases a book. Sure. Do I know what Franco's abilities were? He's a respected war hero. Political power gain, training time. Recovery rate. It'd be much nicer to have him in charge when there's actually like a war. The genre. Salazar has recently finished writing his first book. After over 30 years of political experience, first at the head of Estado Novo regime, and now as one of the cathedrals of Iberia. During this time, he was surmounted many challenges, both political and personal in nature, and he has drawn on the wealth of experience in creating this masterpiece of Iberian literature. Painstakingly dictated to his secretary over the course of several months, the first draft is ready to be composed. Salazar, however, has yet to decide what to keep and what to cut from his unwieldy transcript, ever so diligently copied out and perfected by his assistants. 2 directions to take the book have been suggested to him by his close associates, that of a manifesto of his own political beliefs, or an autobiography of his personal struggles during his life. Salazar himself had expressed that a political statement to guide the Iberian people would be an apt legacy for him to leave behind, but the idea of inspiring personal epic appeals to him greatly as well. With the Cadillo remaining indecisive, the papers continue to pile up on his desk. It may be problematic to convince him to make a final decision. What should it be? I think a personal story makes sense. I think like outlining your political beliefs could like create a rift between Portugal and Spain. I think that's like a potential. I think that there's a potential risk there. I think. And a trade debate over port ownership. After the disastrous attempt at negotiating tariffs, the Cadillos have taken another topic to be tormented. The matter of the day is now port ownership, namely the question of which administration owns national ports. While Salazar insists that the regional government should be in control of the ports, Franco argues that all ports should be under direct control of the Union itself. After nearly 3 hours of argument, the decision was unable to come to a satisfactory conclusion, and has thus been delayed until next meeting. Until then, Iberia's port should be held in uncertain hands. Great. Lovely. The contents. With the genre of Cadillo's new book having been decided upon, Salazar's secretary and his assistants have religiously prepared suitable abstracts for the initial transcript over the course of a few weeks. Every abstract has been chosen for its particular inspiring and powerful advice, vivid description of Salazar's experiences, or Salazar's enlightened political philosophy. Salzir has so far been delighted with the choice of presented to him by his assistants, and has yet to decide on specifically what he wants in the book. Whether it is about a personal and heartfelt book aimed at imparting Salzir's enthusiasm and advice to the reader in order to rouse the Iberian people to greater things, or be ceremonious and authoritarian text containing Salzir's prescriptions for society aimed at safeguarding the Iberian state, guiding the politicians of tomorrow and preserving the legacy that he had painstakingly worked on to build during his time in office. Either way, the Caudillo doesn't seem to be rushed to make a decision, and the book has taken up enough of the official time as it is. Salzir should be encouraged to choose the passage he wants to include in his masterpiece post-haste, as not only do state papers lie on Salzir's desk unread, the urgent bureaucratic work left untouched, but the second Caudillo, Francisco Franco himself, is becoming concerned that Salzir's apparent idleness. And powerful advice for the reader. And the conclusion. Now that Caudillo has decided on the specific contents of his book, his one final decision to make for his paragon of Iberian literature can be sent to the printing presses. The conclusion has yet to be written, and Salzir is torn between concluding that it will be the educated elite that will guide Iberia towards a bright and proud future, or if it'll be the common Iberian toiling away that will bring about the golden age for the Iberian people. While for every intellectual will most likely cement Salzir's book as a magnum opus and possibly increase the loyalty of the intellectual to Caudillo, concluding that the common people will determine the future of Iberia could help foster wider support for the regime, as well as cynically generate a larger profit for the publisher and himself to pocket. Salzir, however, is more concerned with its popularity reception than what a few jumped-up folks think, and while it will be difficult and likely see the arguments needed to convince him of the political benefits of dedicating it to the Iberian intellectuals, it may be expedient to make him see this point of view. Alternatively, letting Salzir have his way will surely be a quicker route to publication. More importantly, back to work for Salzir. Yeah, just more unity for the average person, and also more money always seems like a nice thing. Well, for right now, I think it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode, so thanks everybody for watching. My name is Anthem. If you enjoyed, remember thumbs up. Not to be a thumbs down. You want to see me subscribe, and goodbye.